In this video, I will show you the essential keybinds when employing the F-16C in DCS world. When setting up your keybinds for the F-16, the first thing you want to do, you'll want to set up your pitch, your roll, your rudder, your thrust, and if you're using rudder pedals, you'll want to set up the left and the right wheel brakes. Just like the F-18, stick around to the end of the video where I will tell you where you can download a template by Ericon on the digitalcombatsimulator.com website under the user files section, and I will also link the F-16 X56 PDF map download here on screen. Essential throttle keybinds. We'll start with the slider switch that I have for my speed brake switch. So make sure you set your speed brakes to be able to open and close. On toggle switches on the base of the throttle, I have bound the master arm on and off, laser arm and off, and also the gear lever. These next two keybinds are on my throttle base. There are two rotary switches. These are bound to an axis. One is for the HUD symbology intensity knob to increase and decrease your HUD brightness. The next rotary switch is also on an axis command for your HMCS symbology int knob to increase and decrease your helmet mounting cueing system symbology brightness. Next on the throttle, I have the cycle afterburner detent on and off. The cycle afterburner detent on and off is optional, but I use it so I'm not inadvertently in afterburner. When my throttles are at 100% forward with the detent off, the throttles in the F-16 will stop at mill power. If I press the cycle afterburner detent button, they will go over the gate and allow me to engage my afterburner. If I press the cycle afterburner detent off while in afterburner and pull the throttle back just a little bit, it'll snap back into mill power. This is very useful in helping you save fuel, especially as you know in the Viper, we always need a little bit of extra fuel. To turn the setting on, go into the settings for the F-16 in the DCS main menu and select afterburner detent always on. The next four are up and down toggle switches on the base of my throttle. These are the transmit switch UHF call radio menu and the transmit switch VHF call radio menu. In the F-16, I use the ICP DED increment and decrement switch to increment and decrement the steer points. The next two switches we will talk about later. Bound to an axis, I have the RDR cursor switch for moving the cursor of the radar and for moving the targeting pod. That cursor will also allow you to slew the Maverick head on the weapons page. Also on the throttle, set to an axis, I have a rotary switch that is bound to the ANT elevation knob. This allows you to change the elevation of your radar scans down and up. Also on an axis on the top of my throttle, I have a rotary switch for the manual range knob to zoom out and zoom in the targeting pods. In my opinion, extremely important in the F-16, on my throttle I have bound the trim knob from the F-16's trim panel. When flying with symmetric loadouts on the F-16, it is extremely important to be able to adjust your rudder trim. Otherwise, you're going to be in a constant roll state. I was watching a video from CW Lemoyne and he talked about people complaining about the aileron trim in the F-16 that you're not able to get a straight level stable flight with the aileron trim. He said with the flight dynamics of the F-16, he said if you use your rudder trim, you'll better stabilize the F-16 and then you can use the aileron trim to do the minute adjustments that you need to stay straight and level. When I'm flying around in the F-16, you might notice that I look down quite often. I'm looking down to check the ball. I'll adjust my rudder trim to center the ball within the gates there. Once that is centered, I will then use my aileron trim to stop the roll in the F-16. You will need to use the aileron trim in the F-16 when you start dropping the bombs off the aircraft because you're losing weight on that side of the wings. On the side of the throttle, I have a 4-position hat switch. These 4 positions are keybound to the transmit switch IFFN for data linking targets to other F-16s in your flight, transmit switch IFF out, the dogfight / missile override switch missile override / center for quickly calling up your AIM-120s and going into air-to-air mode. Pressing that switch again will put you back in nav mode. The dogfight / missile override switch dogfight / center will put you in dogfight mode. Every time I am in an air-to-air engagement and I am visual with the targets that I'm trying to fight, I am in this mode. Again, pressing the dogfight center switch will return you to your normal symbology. The second 4-position hat on the side of my throttle are for the countermeasures management switches, forward, aft, left, and right. The countermeasures management switch forward will dispense 1 manual program, programs 1 through 4 as selected by the CMDS program knobs. Left will dispense 1 manual program number 6 with your CMDS mode set to semi. The CMS switch right will enable ECM emissions if you have the jamming pod on your aircraft. CMDS mode manual, CMS right will deactivate the ECM transmissions. With the CMDS mode set to auto, CMS right will disable dispensing of auto programs / interrupt the dispensing of the current program. The countermeasures management switch aft, while in auto mode, will enable continuous dispensing of an auto program. CMDS mode set to semi, the countermeasures management switch aft will dispense 1 auto program or enable the ECM emissions if set to mode 1 or 2. CMDS mode manual, countermeasures management switch aft will activate the ECM emissions if it is set to mode 3. This is a broadcast jamming and it is a continuous jamming mode. On the front of the throttle, I have 2 buttons. They are the transmit switch for UHF and VHF voice over IP, and these 2 switches are used to communicate when using the in-game radio comms with punch. Also, on the front of the throttle, I have the air refuel switch open and close. Just remember, with the air-to-air refuel door open, it shows ready right here, and you are unable to use the autopilot. To again be able to use the autopilot, make sure that the air refueling door is closed. Essential flight stick keybinds. Your display management switch up, down, left, and right are for selecting sensor of interest or SOI between your left and right MFDs and your HUD, and for manipulating the pages on the MFDs. Display management switch down will allow you to cycle between your left and right MFD as being SOI, indicated by the white box around the MFD. Display management switch up will select your HUD as your sensor of interest, indicated by the asterisks in the top left corner of the HUD above your speed tape. Display management switch left short will allow you to cycle between the pages of the left MFD. Display management switch right will allow you to cycle between the pages of your right MFD. Expand / FOV button depress will allow you to expand the picture and zoom on your targeting pod and on your Maverick seeker heads. Your target management switch up, down, left, and right will allow you to manipulate various sensors, including swapping between black hot, white hot modes in the targeting pod and the advanced targeting pod. Target management switch up short will allow you to target things on the ground in your advanced targeting pod or T-pod. Target management switch up will also allow you to target aircraft on your air-to-air radar. Target management switch down will deselect the current target so you can look for other targets. With the advanced targeting pod, pressing the target management switch down a second time will slave your targeting pod back to your steer point. Using the target management switch left and right will allow you to manipulate various sensors on the F-16. Now it's time for the best two keybinds for the F-16. First is the weapons release button, D-press, which will allow you to pickle off anything from JDAMs to dumb bombs. Next is the camera/gun trigger second detent, which will allow you to use the F-16's gun for strafing targets on the ground or for shooting down aircraft while in a dogfight. One quality of life keybind for the throttle that I didn't talk about was the master switch norm and master switch all for your external lightings. This makes it a lot easier to turn off and turn on your external lights when you're fencing in and fencing out. The paddle switch depress is used for temporarily overriding your autopilot, allowing you to make adjustments to your flight course while the autopilot is still on. Once you release the paddle switch, your autopilot will again take over. The final three keybinds will be for your NVGs. Toggle goggles will toggle the NVGs on and off if they are installed on the aircraft. The gain goggles up and the gain goggles down are for your NVG brightness, so you can adjust for different lighting conditions. I hope this tutorial has helped you make sense of which keybinds are essential for the F-16 and making you combat ready. Leave a comment down below what is the most surprising keybind that I have on the F-16 that you do not have. I will link my DCS F-16 CM X56 profile mapping in the comments below. I will also link to the blank template from Ericon on digitalcombatsimulator.com in the user file section. If you guys go grab the template, make sure you drop a comment to Ericon and thank him for his good work on making the mapping. If it's helped you out, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. It really helps me out and I appreciate it a lot. No aircraft were harmed in the making of this video, except all of them. If you enjoy the flight, hit like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next sortie.